I must get to Senator Blunt this afternoon. Let's talk about a couple things that are happening in the Senate this week, including a vote tonight on the president's jobs bill. Now, this isn't a final vote on the bill. What is it?
This is what may be the final vote on the bill. It'll be the vote whether to go to the bill or not. And it's apparently the president's jobs bill, but not with the pay for he had, because the majority in the Senate thinks that it's so much more politically effective to talk about taxing small businesses that have a successful year, or raising taxes on people that are already paying a 15% capital gains tax. They'd have to pay a 20.5% capital gains tax, and I don't believe that's going to get 60 votes. So what we may prove tonight is, once again, the ability to move forward on the bill that the president says pass this bill, that there just aren't votes to pass this bill, and I frankly don't think he has ever expected the bill to pass, or maybe even to be voted on.
Yeah, in fact, your colleague, Illinois Senator Dick Durbin, predicted yesterday that he thinks that there could be 4 Democrats who defect on this vote.
Well, I suspect that could be right, and this is a vote when the jobs plan is just more of the same, and the American people understand that the first stimulus didn't work. Why would one half the size of the first one now work? This is son of stimulus, and like every sequel, it's probably not even quite as good as the stimulus was, and the stimulus was terrible.
What do you think could be put on the table if the president wanted to move forward with a serious jobs plan? What could be put on the table in this climate and agreed upon right now by both parties and sent to the president?
Well, I think the things you would do if you wanted to create private sector jobs would be you'd truly have a moratorium on rules and regulations. You'd stop this massive regulating machine turning out more and more regulations that make it harder and harder to execute the plan that you made the decision to invest your money in, and quit talking about silly EPA rules that double the utility bill in a state like ours in a dozen years, and higher taxes. I mean, you need to do things that create an environment where people want to take a chance with their own money. And the more you stack the odds up against them, the less they're likely to put their money on the table and create an opportunity for somebody else. And that's where certainty comes in. And right now, if you have any certainty, it's the certainty that regulation, if anything, is going to get worse. Taxes, if anything, are going to get higher. And the utility bill, if anything, is going to go up. And the health care cost, you have no idea what's going to happen to them. So I think what you see is the country in a holding pattern, waiting to see if we decide we're going to be Western Europe or if we're going to continue to be the United States of America. And it's clear the president is on the side of us being something that is now facing its own major problems, and that's a government that's too big for its economy to support.
Senator Roy Blunt is with me from Washington this afternoon. You also will, in the Senate, take up some trade proposals this week. Explain what's on the table there.
Well, we are, and I'm a huge advocate of these 3 trade proposals. It's the quickest way to increase American jobs. This is about whether our products get into their countries or not. Particularly as it relates to Colombia and Panama, their products already all come in here. So any nonsense about, well, we have labor concerns about what's happening in Colombia. One, that situation's gotten a lot better in recent years, dramatically better. And 2, their products come here anyway. So this is about whether products made in the United States go to Colombia and Panama and Korea, the 10th biggest economy in the world, where we're giving up those markets. So let's take the advantage of the fact that these agreements, which were basically negotiated 3 years ago, create a marketplace that encourages a private sector American job creation. And I think we're going to get that done this week, which will be really the exception to what the Senate's been doing, which is just barely keeping the doors of the government open and not doing anything that's not critically and absolutely a crisis moment. These trade bills will be the exception that I guess proves the rule that the Senate's not doing its job, and the federal government, except for the regulators, doesn't appear to be getting anything done at all.
Hey, what do you make of the whole Occupy Wall Street movement? You know, we have protesters not too far from KMOX down at Keener Plaza sleeping in tents right now. What are your? I can take a guess at what you might think, but what are your thoughts there?
Well, you know, I'm actually not opposed to people who want to spend their time being focused on whatever they think is the problem. I thought the efforts by Tea Partiers that were so criticized 2 years ago and last year by the other side of all this is these are extremists and these are riots and all that sort of nonsense, that wasn't the case at all. I think that same effort to try to encourage Main Street would have more impact than a effort to try to discourage Wall Street. But, you know, if they want to go out there and do that, I'm not going to be any more critical of that than I am any other American. I don't agree with that as the place to put our energy right now. The fact that we don't have the kind of private sector job creation we need is more about concerns with the federal government and the direction of the federal government than it is the stock market.
Senator Roy Blunt, get your work done in Washington. Come see a World Series game when we're...
Well, I'd love to. I am seeing if I can somehow make that work, my friend, and I will see you soon and hopefully at the studio.
All right, take care.
You bet.